Warning, this video contains spoilers for Captain America Brave New World. I haven't seen it, but I've seen leaked images of a specific character that appears in the movie online. So if you want to go into this movie blind, don't watch this video, I guess. Alright, let's get the show on the road. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Average Review. It's been a little while since I've made one of these reviews, but I'm back to review the new, well, relatively new, Marvel Legends Captain America Brave New World Red Hulk. Now, I've actually had this guy for a couple of days, so I've already taken him out of the box, and either way, it's just a regular Marvel Legends window box, so I think it's okay to skip over that. But I would like to mention, this figure is so big that he's actually crouched inside the box. I just thought that was kind of funny and wanted to mention it. So, let's move on past the fancy cardboard and plastic and get on to the fancy just plastic. The paint and sculpt work on this figure. Now, for a character called the Red Hulk, you'd expect him to just be a repaint of the MCU Endgame Hulk Build-A-Figure, you know, with just some new pieces here and there, kinda like nearly every other Red Hulk figure. But oddly enough, that isn't the case. He's a 100% new sculpt from head to toe. He's taller and also wider, and has a completely different style of pants, more similar to the Age of Ultron Hulk, you know, where he's got those sort of tracksuit pants. As opposed to the ripped jeans like most versions of the Hulk. I don't know, I just found that really interesting that they gave this Red Hulk an entirely new body. So, hey, let's take a look at that new body. Well, I gotta say, this is probably my second favorite standardized Hulk body mold. At least, I hope it becomes standardized, because it's pretty much just better in every way compared to that Endgame Hulk. Like I said, he's taller and chunkier. Which, I mean, for a Hulk figure, yeah, that's exactly what you want. You want a big buff guy. And there's a lot of good detailing. Looking at the pants, they've got a fair bit of texture in them if you look at them closely, and they've got the musculature poking through and a lot of fabric wrinkles and tugs, which is a pretty nice touch. The rest of the body, well, it's a fairly standard bright red, after all. He's the Red Hulk. But the sculpting is very nice. You can see he's muscular and fairly realistically textured and built, at least for, well, a Hulk. Just like the Endgame Hulk I showed earlier, he's got a lot of chest hair painted on, which is a pretty nice touch. But there's one detail about this figure that's kinda just weird to me. Sorry that I have to turn on the super bright flashlight, but it's just to make something more apparent. There's a tiny bit of shading on his six-pack with a brighter shade of red. It's hard to tell on camera, but you can really see it in person, and it's only on that specific area, so it's just kind of confusing. It doesn't look bad in most regular lighting. In fact, it does highlight his six-pack pretty well, but it's just kind of confusing why it's there and nowhere else. Moving past that, though, if you're wondering what the back of the figure looks like, here you go. They didn't cheap out on it. It's sculpted pretty well, but there's no paint back there, really. But hey, you can see how muscular the back of his arms are. Now, there's one thing I've seen a lot of people complain about online, and I can kind of see why. The head sculpt. It doesn't look anything like Harrison Ford, who plays Red Hulk in that Captain America movie that recently came out. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, cause I might be, but I think usually action figures like this that release around or, before a movie actually comes out are made well before the movie is actually finalized. After all, it takes a while to make action figures. So they're usually based on concept art, which is why sometimes with an action figure from an MCU movie that comes out, like I said, around the time the movie releases, they don't look 100% like how the character looks in the movie. For example, some small differences in the costume. I think that was the case with that integrated suit from the Spider-Man No Way Home wave. So I'm gonna assume that's actually the same thing that's happening with this Red Hulk head looking so inaccurate. Maybe it was before a final design was settled on for the CGI model, or they just hadn't finalized the casting of Harrison Ford. But yeah, I can definitely see why some people would be pretty frustrated with this. After all, I don't see us getting a new Harrison Ford Red Hulk anytime soon. But me personally, I'm fine with it since it just means this can just be a regular comic Red Hulk. So, for me, someone who's had trouble getting their hands on that other deluxe Red Hulk that was a Target exclusive, I'm actually pretty fine with that. But hey, enough talking about new bodies and inaccurate head sculpts. Let's get into the articulation on this guy. And he shares the same articulation scheme as that Endgame Hulk Build-A-Figure. So if you have that, you probably know what to expect with this guy. His head's on a dumbbell joint and his head likes to pop off. But he can look up this high, which isn't much at all. He does get a fair bit of down, tilt side to side, and all the way around. He's got shoulders that can spin around and hinge a little under 90 degrees. He's got bicep swivel and double jointed elbows with a pretty alright bend for, arms this bulky. I mean, it's above 90 degrees. He's also got the standard Marvel Legends wrists that can spin around and hinge up and down. Like the Endgame Hulk, he's got a diaphragm joint and a waist swivel that allows him to hunch forward not much, get a pretty good arch back, tilt side to side a very good amount, and twist at the waist and at the diaphragm. He's got the standard Marvel Legends ball-jointed hips that can kick forward not too far, but that's in part due to, for some reason, the knees kind of being permanently bent, even when they're as straight as possible, which is kind of annoying. But he gets a pretty good split at the very least. He's got thigh swivel, double jointed knees, which are a bit tight, and to my knowledge, for the first time on a Hasbro Hulk figure, boot cut rotation. Like with some other joints, it's a bit tight for me, but yeah, this is a new one for Hulk figures, and hey, it's integrated pretty well into the sculpt with, this line right here at the end of the pants. But as usual for Marvel Legends figures, he's got ankles that can hinge backwards, forwards, and pivot side to side. So overall, pretty good articulation for a Hulk figure. I mean, double jointed elbows for Hulk figures is pretty uncommon. Although I do gotta say, I have some issues like the knees always kinda being bent, and his lacking looking up and hunch forward. Now, since this guy is an all-new body mold, it's gonna be pretty fun to do some figure comparisons and see how he scales. Let's start out with the standard male and female Marvel Legends comparisons, Renew Your Vows, Spider-Man, and Spinneret. And just like every Hulk figure should, this guy towers over them. But hey, it's the Red Hulk, so let's see some comparisons with some Green Hulks. Starting off with the Toy Biz Hulk Classics War Hulk, the Hulk Classics Gamma Punch Hulk, the Toy Biz Marvel Legends Face-Off Hulk, the Hasbro Marvel Legends 20th Anniversary Hulk, the Hasbro Marvel Legends Avengers Endgame Hulk Build-A-Figure. I did bring him out earlier, but I'd be remiss if I didn't bring him out here. And the biggest Hulk I have, the Diamond Select Toys Marvel Select Immortal Hulk. But old Green Goliath ain't the only Hulk Thunderbolt Ross has to worry about, 'cause there's some other Hulks too. For example, one of Banner's other alternate Hulk personalities, Joe Fixit. And of course, Banner's cousin, Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, from the Iron Man retro carded line. And while Thunderbolt Ross may have founded a group called the Hulkbusters to hunt down the Hulk, Tony Stark, Iron Man, took the name for himself when he created the Hulkbuster armor. This is the Toy Biz Marvel Legends version. But for another guy who calls himself the Hulk, who is undeniably evil, we have Zemnu, the living Hulk, from his own Build-A-Figure wave. But for another Hulk villain who was shoehorned into a Captain America movie for some reason, we have the Leader, who's actually from the same Face-Off 2-pack as that Face-Off Hulk by Toy Biz from earlier in the comparisons. Like I said earlier, I haven't seen the movie, but from the images I've seen, they really butchered the Leader's design. Now, since he's the new Captain America in this movie, and that's what this figure is based on, here's Sam Wilson with the Red Hulk. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the Sam Wilson as Captain America figure. I only have this figure of him as the Falcon. But hey, it's better than nothing, right? But as is tradition on this channel, here's the Marvel Legends Brave New World Red Hulk with Hit Monkey and Goliath. Now, in terms of accessories, Red Hulk comes with 2 open hands and an angry yelling head packed in, but he does come with an alternate pair of fists and a swappable closed-mouth, more calm-looking head. And I don't see many people displaying this guy with the calm head, because it's a Hulk figure. You want him to be angry and raging out, because he's a Hulk. So why is he fighting Captain America instead of the Hulk? Well, who knows? Probably universal legal rights. Definitely universal legal rights. It's universal legal rights. But at the very least, the figure is pretty decent. Now, despite my very obvious grievances with Red Hulk being one of the main villains of a Captain America movie, I do really like this figure. He's on a new and, in my opinion, improved body mold compared to the Endgame Hulk. And he's got more accessories than that one, mainly due to his swappable other fist and open hand, as opposed to the Endgame Hulk's no alternate hands. And he actually comes with an angry head sculpt, which, yeah, you'd probably want that for a Hulk figure. He's also got the bonus of being able to easily fit in both a comic and movie display. Just saying, I'm kinda hoping that we see this body mold be used for something like an Age of Ultron Hulk figure, you know, to update that old one. But the figure isn't perfect. Despite fitting pretty well into an MCU display, that likeness is pretty rough due to there not really being any likeness. And because of the fact he's on an all-new, bigger body, he doesn't exactly look like a perfect duplicate of any Hulk figure unless you were willing to buy another copy of this guy and customize him to be a Green Hulk. So in my opinion, he's got a lot of good and some kinda obvious bad sections. Now, don't take my complaints as me saying I dislike this figure, cause I do really like it, and one of the issues, the likeness thing, isn't even a problem for me since I just want to put this guy with my comic Hulk figures. So, him not looking like Harrison Ford immediately after you ask any Star Wars related question is pretty fine for me. I'm just pointing out these issues cause, I want to be fair. When I review a bad figure, I like to point out some of the few good aspects, and when I review a figure I like, I'm gonna be objective and point out some of the bad stuff. Now, this Red Hulk retails for about $35, at least that's how much I found him for at one of my local Targets. And hey, for a pretty big figure that's an all-new body and has an alternate head and set of hands, I'd say that's a pretty fair price. So, if you don't have a Red Hulk in your collection, or you just like collecting Hulk-related figures, or you just can't put your wallet away when you see a big, bulky action figure, then I'd say he's pretty worth it, despite his flaws. So, me personally, I'm gonna give the Marvel Legends Captain America Brave New World Red Hulk an 8 out of 10. He's pretty good, and I'd recommend picking him up if you like what you see, but he's nowhere near perfect. So, to everyone who sat through this whole review, well, have a great day, 'cause you deserve it, and stay tuned. Bye-bye.